I've opened up Maple and I'm going to start I've started a new file, and you'll notice that the startup box usually will show up unless you've checked or unchecked show this dialog on startup. So I'm going to close that, and I'm also going to close the quick help. Now let's talk about a couple things that we're going to do right off. First, when you open this document up, it opens in document mode, not worksheet mode. You'll notice in the top bar here, you'll see text, math, and this large oval. Stay away from the large oval. It's asking you to select your paragraph style. You do not want to touch that. You are going to toggle between math and text by simply clicking on either the text or the math symbols. You'll also notice a little box over here to the right. This is used to toggle back and forth between text and math as well. If you are in a drawing or plot, you can also select drawing, and that'll give you some drawing tools. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to look at problem number 39 on page 298 in your text. So I'm going to type in, clicking on text, problem number 39 on page 298 of your text. Now that's a little small, so I'm going to highlight it. I'll change the font size. I'll bold it, and then I'll center it to make it look more like a title. I'll hit enter, and then I want to make sure that I left justify again, and I'll skip a line or two. Now I want to define the functions f and g. These are the two functions that I was given in the problem. And we want to look at y equals 4 minus x squared. So we're going to use the assignment statement, and I want to now make sure that I toggle over to math, and I'm going to say f colon equals 4 minus x squared. Okay, now here's one little note for you. If you leave this statement as is and hit enter, you will see the expression for the function f. And this f colon equals must be there for an assignment statement. Now, sometimes we often will put a semicolon and then hit enter. And of course you see that it doesn't change anything. However, if we choose to put in a colon, the colon suppresses the output, which means you'll see nothing. Now in this particular problem, we don't really need to see that output for f or g. So we're going to use the colon. So now I'm going to define g as g colon equals, and the function in the book is minus x plus 2. So I'm going to type in minus x plus 2. And again, since I don't really need to see the output, I'm going to suppress it and hit enter. Now I'd like to plot the graph. So I'm going to use the plot function. plot, parenthesis. Then I'm going to use the brace, and that's going to allow me to plot f and g on the same graph. So I'm going to say f comma g, end with the other brace, and now the book is telling me via their picture that they are going from x equals minus 2 to x equals 3. So I say x equals minus 2 dot dot 3, end the parenthesis. Now this time I do not want to suppress the output, I want the plot. So I'm going to hit enter. And there's my plot. Now, since I can't draw x equals minus 2 and x equals 3, I'm going to click on the graph. I'm going to go for my drawing tools. I'm going to select the straight line, and I'm going to connect the top graph and the bottom graph at minus 2. I'm going to do the same at the right side of the graph, connecting the minus 3, or the plus 3, I'm sorry, to the graph. All right, so now we can see that the book is asking us to find 3 different areas and sum them up. So we need to make this a little cleaner looking. So what I'm going to do is, again, click on the graph. I'm going to grab the text box tool. I'm going to come over to the red graph, which is my function f, and I'm going to switch to math and type in f of x equals 4 minus x squared. Now I can certainly move that around a little bit and put it exactly, the placement exactly where I want it. I'm going to do the same thing, clicking on the text box and typing in, again making sure I'm in math mode, g of x equals minus x plus 2. Now I really don't like the looks of that, so I'm going to move it over a little bit. And there we have it. Now I do have to worry about where these points of intersection are. Now it certainly looks like one point of intersection, the leftmost point, is at x equals minus 1, and the rightmost point is at x equals 2. But I really need to verify that. So I'm going to come down underneath the graph, and I'm going to verify it by using the solve command. And I'm going to say solve parenthesis f equals g, and I want to solve it for x, so I'm going to say comma x and the parenthesis and hit return. And you'll notice that yes indeed x equals minus 1 and x equals 2 are the 2 intersection points. So I'm going to have 3 areas for sure. So I'm going to go back to go back to my graph, make sure the drawing tools are up, hit the text button again, and this time I'm going to say A1, so we'll call the first area A1. And we'll call the next area A2. And then finally the last area we'll call A3. And again, I can move these things around wherever I wish. Make them look a little cleaner. So now we're going to try to find those 3 areas. So again, I'm checking to see if we're in math. We are still in math mode, so I'm going to say A1 colon equals. I'm going to assign this integral to A1. Click on the integral symbol. Now you'll notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 different colored items. So each of the colored items must be replaced with either a number or a letter. So under A, for the first A1, I notice that I have to find the area between x equals minus 2 and that first intersection point of minus 1. So I'm going to have my lower limit of minus 2, tab, my upper limit of minus 1, tab, and now the function I'm going to replace with the top function being g, the bottom function being f. So I'm going to say g minus f and parenthesis, hit the tab, and you'll notice the x is highlighted on the dx. I need to type x there. Then I can hit return. So the first area is 11/6. Now instead of typing everything all over again, I'm going to highlight and say Control C or Command C if you have an Apple, and then Command V or Control V. I'm going to change the A1 to a 2. I'm going to change the lower limit to a minus 1. And I will change the upper limit to a 2. So now I'm going from x equals minus 1 to the next intersection point, x equals 2. That'll get me this area in here. But notice now the ordering of the functions has changed, and the top function is now f and the bottom function is now g. So I need to reflect that here. And then I hit return, and that has an area of 9/2. I'll say Command or Control V again, and this time I'll compute a 3, changing the lower limit to 2 and the upper limit to 3. And once again, we have the older version of the function's order. The function g is first or top, and the function g is at the bottom. So we're going to switch that to f minus g, hit enter, and you'll see I have a little bit of an error missing. I have an error missing operation. So let's click out of there, and it didn't like what I did, so I'll just rename it. And there we have it. Now something isn't right here. So we have to go back and look, and oh, look what I did. I didn't get the right positioning of the functions. I had it right the first time. So we have 11/6, and we've got it. All right, now we want to add those 3 items together. So how we're going to do this is we're going to do something very clever. We're going to say the area AR colon equals, and now I'm going to say Command or Control L. And notice this box comes up, and the first area has line item number 2, so I'm going to choose a 2 and click OK. Notice what happens down here. So rather than to type 11/6 in that space, I'm going to give it a label name. Then I'm going to say plus, and I'm going to do the same thing, Command or Control L. The next item is on line 3, and I'll do it once more. And the next item was on line 4. I've got all 3 items. I'm going to hit enter, and I can see that the area is 49/6. Now let's suppose that I want to change the function up here. I need to re-execute this program with a new function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the triple exclamation point. That will, after I've changed something, that will re-execute the entire program. If I only want to correct something that's in this bottom line, for instance, then I would only click on the bottom line, and I'd click the single exclamation point, and it would only re-execute that bottom line. Further, if I want to make this really nice and maybe add a second problem to it, I could collect everything by highlighting it all and clicking this thing right here, which is enclose the section in a subsection. So I contain a subsection, and maybe I would actually want to take this title out of here and put it over here. And now I can close it or open it at will. All of the functions that are in your homework work exactly the same as this. That includes the stuff with the natural log and the exponential, and it also includes the sine and cosine function. Now let's suppose that I want to view this a little larger, so I'm going to zoom in, and I can see that things are a little bit bigger now, so it'll be easier for you to see.